What's going on, YouTube? This is Luke with Endless Entrepreneurs, just coming to you with a live video. As you see, the topic is going to be top 5, well, at least my top 5 tips for any new or beginning seller on eBay. For those of you new to my channel, I am a part-time eBay seller. I mainly sell men's used clothing with a little bit of women's mixed in there. I am a full-time corporate finance analyst and build my business in my spare time. I've been doing so for quite a while now, a couple of years, and just thought I'd bring you. I've been really thinking about, as Shannon, my fiance, has her own eBay business she just started, and I've been thinking about kind of a lot of the tips to get people off the ground and going as I get a lot of questions. So I'm just going to let people filter in here. Let's say we got 23 people already, so thank you for stopping in. Really appreciate it, guys. I'm going to give another probably like minute and a half before I jump into the topic. Lucky for you guys, my sleep schedule is super jacked up. Normally, if you watch my channel regularly, I wake up at like 4 a.m., do all my eBay stuff, then go to work. I've had family in town like 2 weeks ago, and my sleep schedule kind of got flipped. And now Shannon's got me doing Insanity, Max 30 or something like that with Sean T. So we've been doing that every night, so I'm just wired when we get done. So good thing for you guys is you get some live video. Let me pull open the chat here. Actually, might have some background noise for you, sorry. Oh, and that's my dog, my golden retriever. All right, let's see. We got a bunch of people in the chat. Let me just shout some people out. Hi, Terry. Hi, Atripa. Hi, Chicago Crown Hustler. Patripreneur. Linda Glass. Chanta. Lisa. There's lots of people here. Jessica. Elfred. Yvonne. Valena. All right. I think I shouted out enough people. Thank you so much for stopping in, guys. It's Wednesday night. I do apologize. We were going to have Ronnie Hart from Hart's Picker. We were supposed to do a Blazers and Suits show today. And he had some things come up. It just didn't work out. So we're going to next week, hopefully. We're planning to do that. And we'll bring you guys some pretty awesome content. I've got a really cool outline for him. The format's going to be, I'm going to interview him, and we are going to kind of go back and forth, giving you guys tons of good information. So that will be next week. Stay tuned. I'll post it when we firm up the date with him. But let me jump in. We got a lot of people watching now. I'll jump into kind of my 5 tips. Try to keep my videos pretty short and concise. We'll do some live Q&A after the 5 tips here. But let me just start. I'm going to work my way backwards. So I organize it. So 5 through 1. We will end with 1, obviously. So the first one I have is you need to, so as every new seller, I think one of the biggest pitfalls is you need to set dedicated time that is just for your business in your life. Whatever that looks like, whatever you can set aside and carve out that is non-negotiable, it's your time to build your business, no matter what that activity happens to be for that time. If it's 2 days a week for an hour each day, if it's every day for 30 minutes, every day for an hour, whatever it is, you need to figure out what time you can commit to it and make sure that it is non-negotiable and it doesn't get touched by anything but eBay. Because if you don't have that built into your business and you don't have that time dedicated, your progress is going to get stunted because you're going to get distracted by a lot of different things. And I'm guilty of it as well. I try to have a highly structured schedule. I stick to it for the most part, but I do get distracted and pulled away from it. And I think early on, especially, if you don't take the approach right away that, hey, I'm committing to build a business, I'm committing to learn it, it's something new, or I'm just getting into it, I'm committing to get better. If you don't commit to that and set those 4 or 5 hours or whatever it is for you, then it's going to be, to me, it's going to be a struggle to build momentum. Like, you need that to build momentum. So that's tip number 5. We're going to work my way back down. So tip number 4 is to start narrow. I think this is the other big mistake of a lot of new sellers is they get so excited about selling. And, for me, I do men's clothing. Like, to me, that's enjoyable for me. But that's a very wide topic. Like men's clothing, there are so many niches within men's clothing that it's not very focused. So for me, I think for that tip number 4 is pick something small that you can master. Like, become a master at whatever it is you're doing and then add on as you go. For me, when I started with just men's dress shirts. That was easy for me. There was 3 measurements. There's a few brands I could learn early on and kind of build that momentum in my head and for myself. And then after that, I added in things. So I went from dress shirts to pants, and then I added in some shorts. And then like now I've been adding in jeans and shoes and blazers and suits. And I have a huge portfolio of products I sell, but I made sure early on that I mastered something. Because what happens, I think what happens is you get overwhelmed, right? You get in that thrift store and you're going through the aisles and you're kind of bouncing from this rack to that rack, and you're not really getting any consistency or mastering what you're looking for. And so your process never becomes efficient. And so you're kind of just, I don't know, kind of treading water, doggy paddling, so to speak, as you're trying to, build your business. So for me, it's, first is dedicate that time. And then second, pick what it is that you want to focus on. For me, it was dress shirts. Maybe for you, maybe it's not even clothing that you're selling. Maybe it's electronics, it's video games, it's whatever, but pick something. That way you know how to focus your time, your studying, your sourcing, and you can just start with that core and just add on layers as you go, rather than starting really wide and just not sure where you're going to get to. So that's 5 and 4 of the list. I'm going to pop over to the chat here. Terry said, be sure to pick a funny thumbnail for this video. Terry, I will. And she's referring to my jeans tutorial picture I put was a little obnoxious. Shannon didn't approve of it, but I thought it was hilarious. But so those are the first 2 tips. Let me, and sorry, my dog keeps running over here and trying to drop toys for me to throw. It's a little distracting. But let me jump into 3 now. So tip number 3 is, and I think it's number 3, but I honestly think this is one of the most important ones, period, is if you were going to commit to start a business and that's what reselling is, guys. Whether you're a hobby seller or not, you still are operating a business, and you should try to treat it like a business, no matter the size or the scale that you want to get to. Is pick a dollar amount that you are going to dedicate to building this business and put it in isolation. Don't touch it, and just use that. If you want to allocate more dollars after, that's up to you. But I think it's important, whether it's $100, $200, $50, whatever it is that you can afford to carve out that's going to just be for your business, pick that and go with it. And don't touch it for anything else. Make sure it stays in your PayPal. If you're going to be an eBay seller, you need a PayPal account, and that's where really you should house, in my opinion, that's where you should house your money for your business, because you can keep track of all the transactions there. But don't touch it for bills. Don't touch it to go to the movies. Don't touch it for gas. Don't touch it for those things. It needs to be just for your business. And if you source too much and that gets depleted, well, guess what? That forces you and keeps a band and keeps you accountable that you can't go source without more funds, which means you need to list that inventory. You need to get it up and you need to sell it so you can go source more. I think a lot of times we get and fall in love with sourcing and going to thrift stores and kind of the thrill of the hunt. And we forget that you need to put in the work on the back end. And so I think setting that dedicated money aside, that dedicated amount, make sure that you stay true to that. Make sure that you keep doing all the processes that move your business forward. And honestly, when it gets to tax time, this is just another down the road thing. No matter the size of your business, by keeping that isolated, you can track very easily your expenses, what you've invested, what you bought, what you've sold, all those things. So number 3, pick an amount that you are going to invest to start your business and stick with it. Don't change it. Keep it in isolation and don't use it for other things. I'm just gonna jump over here. All right, no questions directly related to those, so I'm gonna keep going, guys, and we'll do a wide open Q&A at the end, guys, on this and other topics. But I just want to get through these. If there's direct questions, I'll address them to each point. So number 2, and I know that Jason on Prof Sales will give a big old second to this. I'm not sure if he'll end up watching this later on or not, but you need, and this is number 2 for a reason, you need to track your progress as a business. And what that means is not just your sales. It's easy to open the Seller Hub and hit My eBay and be pumped about your sales. Well, guess what? If you have $200 in sales, but you had $198 in cost all in, you didn't do very well, right? $2 profit for your time probably wasn't what you were looking for. You need to track your cost of goods. You need to track the time it takes you to do all the activities. You need to track how many listings you're putting up so that you can see if listings equate to more sales. You need to track, your expenses. So whether it's your mileage, whether it's your supplies for your shipping, whether it's the shipping itself, checking on your fees, you're just making sure that all this stuff, you understand the all-in cost of your business and you understand if you're actually making money. I think, and especially in the reselling world, we get very caught up in gross numbers, right? Like I'm doing a 100K challenge. That's exciting to me. It's a big number. But guess what? That 100K isn't net, right? I'll probably net 50 to 60K on that, which is still like, that's perfect for me. I would love that. But we get caught up in the gross numbers and we need to track our progress, track our effort into our business to make sure what we're actually netting is worth your time. And it allows you to adjust. When you track all your progress, you track those metrics of how often you're listing, what days you're listing on, right? What types of items you're listing. You start tracking those things. It allows you to pivot and adjust, right? If your business isn't growing like you think it was going to, you look at your effort, you adjust your effort, you apply more effort here and maybe less there. It gives you a really awesome lens to look through on how to build and grow your business. And you might find out that in your area, sourcing this product just isn't as prevalent. Like you just aren't finding as much with high margins, or this product is prevalent, you didn't think it was. So maybe I need to shift my focus and research more on that. I mean, where I live, I'm super fortunate that clothing is abundant, it's high end, and it's cheap. Not everyone has that luxury. So I just think tracking your progress in every way allows you to analyze if you're being successful, pivot and move and adjust to all the things happening. And it really allows you to be successful as you grow your business. So that's number 2. Let me jump over to the feed here before I wrap up with number 1, which is by far my favorite. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate the kind words. And thank you very much. All right. So no. Paula, I will address that after in the Q&A. I'll wrap up here and then we will shift over into that. All right, so we're down to 1. So I'll just kind of recap here. We went number 5 was set dedicated time each week that you're going to stay consistent to. You're going to stick to that no matter what, right? That's going to what your non-negotiable. Number 4 was pick a narrow focus, pick your niche and just hone in on it. Number 3 was set a dollar amount that is non-negotiable and is going to move your business forward. You're not touching it for anything else but for your business. And then number 2 is track your progress. And so number 1 is very simple, guys. And this is, to me, it's by far a lot of the questions I answer, talking to other resellers, watching people get started. This is what I see all the time. Just start. Like I can't be more specific or clear than that. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Don't wait to have all the equipment. Don't wait to have the perfect brand knowledge or to educate yourself enough to go into it. Don't wait to have your spreadsheet perfect to put everything into. Don't wait for those things. Go buy an item, list it. If you screw up, who cares, right? And I'm adamantly in this camp. If you screw up, who cares? If you get negative feedback, who cares? Like you just have to start and learn and you adjust, right? You make a mistake, you adjust. It's the best way to learn. I swear it. I've made hundreds of mistakes in my eBay business. You just kind of got to start and do it and you figure it out as you go. You know, these other tips are foundations, and I'm not saying you shouldn't prepare. I'm not saying you shouldn't watch haul videos and watch brand videos and watch sales update videos. I'm not saying that you shouldn't research what to source and where your thrift stores are. I'm not saying you shouldn't plan what your niche is. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm just saying don't wait to 2 days from now. Don't wait for 7 days from now. Just start now. Open your eBay account, open your PayPal account, and go. I mean, Shannon started a little over 2 weeks ago, and she's at like $200 in sales almost. She's listed 116 items in just like 2.5 weeks. And she knew nothing other than watching me for, since I've lived with her, watching me do this and thinking it was weird as heck. But now she's doing it, and you just got to start and go. So those are my 5. I will get off my soapbox now, but I thought it'd be really, really beneficial to share that with you guys. And we will switch over to some Q&A and go from there. So let me see what we got, guys. Paul, I'm going to shift back to your question because I didn't address it. And let me see what specifically it was. So, Luke, can you quickly talk about the eBay stores? Is there a beginner level? Okay, so there is a beginner level. There's a basic store. You don't have to have a store to start selling. So again, this gets back to the just start. You do not need a store to get selling. So the basic is good till I think like 400 and some odd items. I did a video on what threshold you should upgrade. And then there's premium and then there's anchor. And so basically it's just a numbers game. You get free listings for your store subscription. You get free supplies. And then when it gets to a level where it makes sense, you just keep upgrading to, maximize your dollars. All right. Better Barbie said, I was so scared when I started to do those first few things. Now I wonder why I was so scared. Yeah. And that's the general consensus I see. And even I had it when I first started. I was so afraid I was going to screw up or not track something or like mess up my taxes, or like, I think taxes is one of the things that everyone freaks out about. And honestly, you need to take them seriously, but don't let that stop you from starting, right? You can figure that out as you go. But yeah, you just got to go. HDLE said, can you speak briefly about your business structure, LLC, sole proprietor? Sure, I don't mind. So right now I am a sole proprietor for this past year. I have an LLC. I haven't chosen to execute on it for tax purposes yet. This year I probably will for 2017. As far as the benefits go, you really have to look at your situation, your income levels, what thresholds you'll come into to figure out what's more beneficial. As far as selling men's clothing on eBay, I don't look at the LLC from a liability standpoint because I'm not saying there isn't risk. I'm just saying I wouldn't open an LLC just for the risk. I would open it for a tax reason before I did it for that. So hopefully that makes sense. That's just kind of a little piece of that. Twisted Neck Jeep said, what is the best way to authenticate high-end merchandise? If you just Google authentication for whatever brand you're looking, there is pretty much a site for almost every major brand. They vary kind of in their setup, but they usually are a good picture-by-picture diagram of what's fake versus what's real. I haven't had any trouble finding any brand I've tried to authenticate on the web. Common Piece says, how do you handle your return policy on your items? I do 30-day returns, and I pretty much just accept everything. I don't really fight much. I will sometimes offer a 50% return and they keep the item or whatever I feel is fair if I think they might keep it, just to stop from having to deal with the return and everything else and just kind of recoup my cost. But that doesn't always happen. Let's see. Hey, Sports said, I'm at $9.98 in gross sales for the week. Wow, that's good. Yeah, I always wish my gross was net. It would be nice if gross sales were net. Great job. Nerdle said, what are your thoughts on the new guaranteed delivery policy coming out by eBay later in the year? So I'm going to hold off on answering that until a later video because I just haven't had enough time to digest it. At a high level, it looks like they're trying to give it comparable to Amazon, which to me makes me happy because we need to be competing there somewhat. But I don't want them to shift to modeling it like Amazon. And I don't think they will just because they're completely two different things. But yeah, I'm going to wait. I'll probably do a video later. Casey, if you check out Casey's video over at Rockstar Flipper, he put out a really good one. I think it was yesterday or today on it. And I thought it was a really good synopsis and summary. So definitely check his out if you want some information in the meantime, but I will come out with something soon. Jessica Jones said, taxes is what scares me. Since we are in the same state, can I pick your brain through email? Yeah, feel free. Anyone can reach out. Again, I always preface, if I delayed in responding, it's not because I don't like you or I'm ignoring you. I just try to do my emails in batches. So, but yeah, definitely feel free to reach out. Let's see. Better Barbie said, the past few days, I've noticed that Gallery Plus is default filled in when listing. It's also filled in when I revise a listing. Is there a way to not have that defaulted? Yes. So you can set up your default list settings. I'm not exactly positive step by step how to do it because I haven't done it in a long time. But if you go to your account settings, you should be able to check off each of those things or create a template and save it. But that's the best tip I can give you right now without having it in front of me. Drummer said, what is your strategy when you enter the thrift store? What items do you go to first, second, third? That's a great question, Drummer. So what I do, typically, first I assess where all the people are because some of our Goodwills are kind of tight. So I look for the open spaces, and I usually go to whatever is open. But if I can, ideal situation, no one's in the store, I go to dress shirts first, sweaters second, just because they're the fastest. Then I go to jackets, and then I go to suits and blazers. And the reason I go to suits and blazers first is because when I get to pants, I want to be able to match up any blazers I found that I really liked to see if I can find the matching suit pants in the pants section. And then I finish with shoes and ties. So usually shirts, sweaters, jackets, suits, blazers, pants, and then shoes and ties. And I usually call it good after that. And when I say pants, I mean jeans too. So I'll do like dress pants and then I'll do jeans. Paula, let's see. Randy asks, how often do you revisit the same Goodwill store? So honestly, I go usually once a week to most stores or every other week. Here in Charlotte, we just get such an abundance of donations. It's such a heavily populated area and more people are moving here. It's a higher income area, like just higher income demographic in general for a city because it's growing, that they replenish nonstop. So I usually can go once a week. And, they put out new inventory every day in most places. It just depends on where you live. I mean, when I lived in upstate New York, they didn't replenish as much as I would have liked, but here they definitely do. Wow, we got 76 people watching, guys. I really appreciate you guys stopping in. If you don't mind, hit that like button. Definitely lets me know that I'm doing, at least bringing some good content to you guys and lets YouTube know as well. Chipa asks, are Frank Sinatra ties worth picking up? I don't know the answer to that. I have never found one, and I would have to do some research on that. But if you check the sold listings, it should give you a decent idea. Just make sure you check sold and sort by highest plus first price-wise. The question was asked, do you visit Salvation Armies? So I did when I was in upstate New York because I love the half-off days. Down here, I haven't as much because we have so many Goodwills, and to me, they're just so cleanly laid out, ours down here, that it's easier for me to navigate, and I have enough stores to pick from. I've toyed with hitting, like if I didn't work during the day, when Wednesdays they have off days, I probably would go to Salvation Armies more often, but they tend to price up a lot more than Goodwills. Like they don't standardize their pricing like Goodwill does for me. Here, Goodwill is flat. So like shirts are $4, jeans are $5, pants are $4, blazers are $5. But Salvation Armies are kind of up and down by brands, and I don't know. I just don't mess with it as much. But Third King said, about how many different stores do you hit up a week? So I always try to hit 8. The last couple weeks I've definitely fallen short of that. But yeah, I try to hit 8. I try to hit like 5 on the weekends and 3 throughout the week. It's shifted way more towards like 6 on the weekends and 2 throughout the week, just in my new job. But yeah, that's usually the goal, is to try to hit 8. Although lately, because I've expanded into so many categories, I pretty much have, it takes me about 20 minutes longer each store because I've expanded into so many categories and I'm getting way more items. So I could probably get away with only doing 6 a week and still have enough inventory. Deborah, yes, I do get compensation through the ad revenue. So when you guys see those pre-roll ads, I do get money through YouTube for that. It's very minimal, but I do. So I appreciate all the likes, helps me in the search engine, and just lets me know I'm doing a good job. So I do appreciate that. That is not the reason I do these videos. I do these videos because, well, A, they're fun, and B, it keeps me accountable to my goals. So that's really the main driver for me. Michael said, how would you list Lucky Brand jeans that were cut to shorts? I picked up some at the Goodwill bins just to see if they'd sell. So I would probably describe them just as that. I would say that they were a pair of jeans that were cut to, I would advertise them as jean shorts, but in the description, I would make sure to put that they were cut down. They were originally jeans and they were cut to jean shorts. I would imagine they'll still sell as long as you give all the right sizing and measurements. I don't know what they'd sell for. I've never followed them or never sold something like that. Thread King said, follow-up question, do you source from the same stores every week? Yeah, there's 3 stores I pretty much go to every week near me. They are in a very high income area. They have an abundance of inventory, and I always find great stuff there. So yeah, there's 3 that I go to every single week. Tony Anders, how many times do you relist an item before it's a bad buy? I don't really use that metric to determine a bad buy. And the example I'll give why I don't is I have blazers that sit for a year and sell for the price that I asked the original month I listed it. Right. So a lot of times I'm waiting for that specific buyer, specific style, material, whatever. So I just don't use that to quantify it. I pretty much know when I get home and go to list, I look in the sold listings and go, crap, that does not sell for what I thought it did. And then I price it low to try and move it. So hopefully that answers your question, Tony. Drummer so far asks, how am I finding dealing with shoes? I love shoes. They're super high margin. They're easy to list. I wish I'd gotten them way sooner. Big shout out to the Soul Advisor, his YouTube channel. He's helped me a ton with learning about that. Paula just asked, does eBay search give stores priority? Same exact item listed at the same time, sold for $15 more. Only difference is they had a store and do I not. I'm not sure, Paula, about search engine, whether it recognizes store versus non-store, but I would challenge you to look critically at your listing versus their listing. And I would say, A, do they have more feedback than you? Do they look more reputable? Like they have thousands and thousands of feedback, so they bought with a little more confidence? Did they stage it differently with a mannequin, with a different backdrop, something that made the pictures maybe pop a little more? What order did they put their pictures in? Because I feel like the first picture that you select makes all the difference of whether you sell your item. Take a look at my dress shirts in my store. If you look at top-notch threads, just Google it on eBay. My store should pop right up. I do like an angle shot of the collar and whatever graphics on the front. It's just kind of a nice shot. It separates me from a lot of other buyers who flat lay and do different things. I'm not saying it's better. I just think it separates and sometimes gives a higher dollar margin, and you can ask for a higher price on that. HDLE said, how much time do you spend in one store? I spend about an hour now. I used to do like 20 minutes when I first started because I was only looking at shirts and like one other thing. Now I spend about an hour probably start to finish. I can do like 45 if I'm really moving, like just flying through racks and not stopping too much. Let me see. Hey, Sports said, how many poly mailers do you order at once? So I was ordering quantities like 250 and 500 for most of my career on eBay. This last year, I actually ordered a full year's worth of supplies at the end of the year. So I was ordering in quantities of like 1,000 and 2,500, I think. So there isn't much of a price difference, though. You would think you'd get a big price break for ordering the high quantities, but it was only like maybe 1 cent per, which I mean is still decent, but it wasn't like enormous. No problem, Thread King. I mean, the reason I like the Q&A is because I can just I'll tell you what I know, and what I don't know, you're just gonna have to figure out somewhere else. But I only can talk about my experience, and hopefully it's helpful to you guys. Yes, Rhino asked 2 mil poly mailers, the best. I don't know if they're the best. That's just what I use. I think they're the cheapest that I've found. I do a 12 by 15. The clear one, it has a flap lock, and the opaque one that I actually ship in has a self-seal, like a sticker that you pull off. This question was, how do you feel about lots? I don't do it often, but I will lot together Brooks Brother polos. Those are one of the things that I do often. I can pick them up for $4. I'll lot usually 3 together for like $59.99. And I tend to sell it between like 45 and that 60 price point. So it's pretty worth it. I can fit 3 in a flat rate for $6. So it works out well. Jeff Klein said, have you ever figured your inventory turns? Can you clarify that question a little bit for me, Jeff? Do you mean like how my sell-through rate is what you're asking? Because my sell-through rate's like 0.5% a day. So I sell like, I have about 1,600 items listed, give or take, depending on the day, and I sell about 220-ish, 230-ish a month. So it ends up being about 0.5% per day. Salty said, do you like those rugs people use to take photos? I haven't seen that before, but I like anything that differentiates you from other buyers. That I've really moved to that. I didn't used to. I used to use a flat white background. I just think when a buyer's scrolling, especially now that they use their phones most of the time, right? They're not even on a desktop anymore when they're buying. They're just flipping through. They search for something vague. It pops up the best search result. I mean, I want my picture to pop, and I want it to jump out at them. I think that's really important. So yeah, if you can differentiate with the background, I definitely recommend it. When should we use stock photos? Only use stock photos if you have a large quantity of the item, you're doing a single item, and you're like, you really just shouldn't use stock photos in general unless you're selling something that is completely brand new, unchanged, and basically the stock photo is exactly what you're selling. I mean, that's really when you should use it. I just don't recommend it for used sellers. I mean, there's never a time that I'm going to use a stock photo for a used item. How many listings before you started seeing daily sales? And that's a question I get a lot, and unfortunately, I don't really have the answer. I think it was around 400 or 500, or no, it had to be higher than that. Daily sales, I think I was getting 100. I think I was getting 100 sales a month, which is obviously a lot more than daily. And I was probably at like 500 or 400 items. I would say you can probably get 30 sales a month at like 250, 300 items or so. But if you want to check out Shannon's channel, it's called Shannon on a Mission. That's my fiance. She's starting hers from scratch. It's separate from me. Like, I'm not helping her with it all. And it's actually, I'm starting to learn to answer some of these questions by watching her trajectory. So like, in perspective, how many sales do you have, Shannon, over here? 10. So she has 10 sales in 2.5 weeks.
It's like every 2 days.
So yeah, like every 2 days or so, she's listed 126 items, and she has 10 sales in 2.5 weeks. So hopefully that's some good perspective. Yeah, hey Sports said, I love using the clear polys. Looks more professional than customized. I agree, and I think it's easier to store the inventory in them. It's easier to keep them organized. It protects it, and like you said, it gives a really clean look to the customer, and it costs like 6 cents or 8 cents. So it's just a no-brainer. Ryan Ali said, what's your 30-day total? You mean that my last 30 days of sales? I think it's like 6,400 right now on my eBay app. I've done just about 6K the last 2 months. I'm hoping for a strong finish to March here. I'm hoping I get close to 7K. That's my hope. I'll be doing a sales update video probably tomorrow, actually, tomorrow or Friday. Try to do them once a week. Just Rhino, I have a WordPress blog I'm working on right now, so I can post links like that for like the clear polys and stuff, because I get that question a lot. And instead of replying to emails over and over, I'm trying to get stuff in one location I can direct you guys to. So that'll be up shortly, hopefully in the next week or two. And I'll put links to all my supplies I use. I'll put links to my spreadsheet that you guys like to use and things like that. But I would just eBay search for 12 by 15 flap lock clear poly bags, and they'll come right up. Dave Stanton said, does anyone complain about sports coats or suits being wrinkled when they receive them? Just getting into them, have about 10 listed waiting for sale. Well, first of all, congrats on jumping into them and selling them. They are awesome, high margin. You will love selling them. They're great for your business. I have only had one complaint, and it was a new with tags blazer. And I think that's the reason I got the complaint, is they were expecting, because it was new with tags, it'd be like right off the rack. And it was in a poly bag. And so they didn't. That was the only complaint. And I've sold hundreds of blazers over the last couple of years. So I've never had a complaint otherwise. So I store them in the clear polys. I ship them in the flat rates whenever I can fit them in there. And I've never had any issue. Jessica said, can you link her channel? She's only on 1 month, so it'd be cool to follow someone from scratch. Well, absolutely. I will make sure I put it in the link of the description when this video is over. Better Barbie said, wait, hold on. No TV said, I went to Charlotte and didn't find anything good. Well, that's because I'm scooping it all up. Of course you're not going to find anything good. No, on a serious note, that's very surprising. What stores did you go to? Because I don't think I've ever come up empty at any store around here. Better Barbie said, are you hitting estate sales on the weekends together? We haven't really hit estate sales yet. I've gone to one since I've been here, and actually I did really well at it. I can't find the quantity of items at them, and they're so spread out that when I only get the weekend to really source hard, Goodwills are just easier for me because I can hit a bunch in a row without any issues. And yeah, thank you, Paula. Yeah, if you YouTube Shannon on a mission, it should pop up. I think her picture's right in the front of it. She's got blonde hair. But yeah, it should pop right up. But I'll link it either way. Don't worry. Alfred said, do you pass on Peter Millar dress shirts if, oh, I lost the question. If stain on collar. Yeah, I pretty much pass on anything if it has a stain, unless it's a super high-end brand, like like a blazer like Keaton or something like that. No, I don't pick up Prano Uomo unless it's new with tags. Let me see. Sully said, do you buy all your clothing? Oh, sorry, the dog keeps shaking the desk. Do you buy all your clothing for like 25 cents or 50 because at my Goodwill doesn't have clothing like that? No, I pretty much my average cost, Sully, per item, and this is average cost over hundreds and thousands of items, is about $4.75. That's pretty much what I get my items for. No TV said, is it worth picking up lower brands like Banana Republic, Tommy Hilfiger? So it's only worth it if you get it at the right price. That's my best answer to anything like that. When you guys want to know what brands, what did the sold listing say, right? And what are you getting it at, right? If you're buying it for $4, no. If you're getting it for 50 cents, maybe. Depends on the sell-through and if it's fast and all that good stuff. So Wilbury said, how important is it to have a niche? I think, like I said earlier, I think it's one of the most important things is to have a niche. You can grow your niche. It can get bigger and bigger, but I think it's super, super important to have one to start with and to slowly build up. Master what you're working on, right? Maximize that and then build from there. Rhino said, I've never done good with outlets. They charge per pound. How much is it per pound usually? I'm not sure how much it is per pound. I've only been to one outlet. I did okay at it. It's just not really my cup of tea. I don't like it as much. It's not as fun for me as the retail stores. But yeah, it's usually good deals there. Jeff Klein, $1,000 of inventory and 2,000 in sales is 2 turns. Just curious if you track that. So inventory and 2,000 in sales is 2 turns. Okay, so you're basically saying recouping your costs. So you're talking return on your cost of goods. I don't really track that. I track my net profit all in. So I track all my costs, not just the turn on it. But just because I feel like the weight of your inventory really changes the profitability based on the shipping cost. But yeah, so I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I'll have to look in the eBay app because it tells me like the value. And when you say $100,000 of inventory, you mean the cost, right? You're not talking about like the value you're listing it for. And Drummer, yes, I do go to Salvation Army Valley Village sometimes, not very often. All right, guys, I got about 2 more minutes. I'll keep answering questions, and then I got to cut it off because I need to list. I actually have a bunch of blazers I have to list tonight. So, like I said, my sleep schedule is super jacked up, so I'll just be up for probably another hour or 2 listing items. Inks and Threads. No, you didn't miss your collaboration with Ronnie. That's why I'm doing this live video. Unfortunately, he had some other commitments that popped up that were unavoidable. We are going to firm that up for next week and reschedule. We are definitely going to bring you guys a dedicated Blazer suit video. I know that everyone's asking for that, and it's going to be a really cool show. We nailed down the outline. I'm really, really looking forward to it. He's going to be on my channel here, so it should be really cool. Better Barbie said, I bet you don't, but do you have a death pile? I don't. I have a bit of OCD with organization, and because I'm listing 350 items a month, I'm just struggling to source enough to keep up with it because I'm part-time. So yeah, I don't really have a death pile too often. Rhino, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm glad that they're helpful to you. And it's kind of my motivation for doing a lot of this stuff is I like helping people. And I know a lot of you email me and stuff. I love getting the dialogue and the emails and the stories and what you guys are doing. It's really motivational for me. Keeps me going for sure. And Will, someone asked that earlier for how do I feel about the eBay guaranteed shipping? I'm not sure yet. I haven't had enough time to digest it. So I'll have a later video out on how I feel about it and what it means for me and what it might mean for you guys. But right now, I just don't feel equipped enough to answer that like seriously yet. Paul said, Will, is you going to do a separate video? Oh, thank you, Paul. I appreciate you answering the question. No problem, Tina. I'm glad they're helpful. We got 84 people watching. I think this is close to the highest I've ever had watching live. I really appreciate you guys watching. Salty, I can't really link it because it's just like I can't link it anywhere because it's not like online yet. That's why I'm getting the WordPress site because a lot of people are asking for that, and I can link it there. If you email me at entrepreneursllc@gmail, I can reply with it. Well, thank you, Ink and Thread. I appreciate you watching all the videos. Thank you very much. I'm glad it's helpful. All right, guys, I am going to wrap up now. I have tons of work to do. I hope your week's going well. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. And I will have a sales update video out probably tomorrow. And hopefully a couple haul videos this weekend. I gotta get sourcing this weekend and really get cracking to hit my listing goal for March. So take care, guys. Have a great night. Thanks for stopping in.